Hello, beautiful souls. We are talking about self love and self care in quarantine, beyond the quarantine, and in the new normal that doesn't seem very normal, but we are adapting to the change and we are constantly growing, evolving, and learning, and that's good. And I've talked several times about people and their importance in our lives, and I want to do that again today because I think it's huge, and I think the people in our lives are really instrumental, are really essential to our growth, to our evolution, and even when we don't realize it, they help us, they teach us, and they take us to the next step in our life, in our evolution. And so I wanted to talk about the problems we encounter with people, about the rejections, about the people who don't get us, who don't support us, because the more enlightened you are, the more you work on yourself, the more you try to evolve and to be true to your life mission, to follow your intuition. And you don't have to believe in a spirit guides or in the power of a benevolent universe in order to understand that your inner compass is always guiding you and might be telling you to make choices that people will not necessarily approve of. And it's painful when we are rejected. It's painful when we really believe that we are doing the right thing, but the people around us don't support us. That can be really, really painful. And we constantly face rejection in our lives, but even more when we are trying to do something that is so different, that is so unusual, that people will necessarily react badly. At least some people will, and you have to be prepared for that, and you have to accept that feeling disappointed, feeling frustrated, feeling sad or angry is perfectly normal, because generally when we are rejected or when we face criticism, we feel bad, and immediately a well-meaning person will tell us that it's okay, you just have to forget that because many more people will accept you and everything. And that is partly true. We always attract the right people in our lives, and we always find the support that we need, so we can trust that it's going to happen. But it doesn't mean that we have to ignore the pain, that we have to ignore the disappointment, the sadness, the frustration, because it's very real. And when people don't let us grieve, when people don't let us feel the pain, when they just tell us to pretend that everything is all right, we don't feel any better. We just feel worse because we are being unsupported by some people and by the others as well. So in a way it's even worse. And you have to allow yourself to feel every negative emotion, and you can't let them go unless you feel them, and you can't decide that people shouldn't be reacting like that either. You have to give them time, give them space, and you have to give yourself the time, the space to process everything that is happening to you. You have to accept, you have to have compassion for your own pain, and to allow yourself to feel the feelings and decide that you will attract a better experience later, but that for now you have received whatever lesson it was, and you are willing to understand what it was supposed to teach you. It's not always obvious, and pain is something that we tend to refuse. Rejection is something that we hate, so we don't want to see it as a positive sign of anything. Criticism is painful, especially if you have been doing your best, especially if you're very excited about something. It's painful. And it's okay to be in pain. It's not less spiritual than happiness. You can't be perfectly happy and serene all the time. It's not possible. No one is. If people tell you otherwise, it's not true. You wouldn't be human if you were not feeling things. And you have to accept that it happens, and you have to accept that it might take time to be completely accepted, or that some people might not be part of your new life, or that people might not agree, so you have to avoid certain topics. I know I do it, and it can be very painful. It can be very difficult. It can be very frustrating. But there are people that I still want in my life, even though I know I won't change them. I won't convince them. I won't convert them. And it's okay, because if I want people to respect me, I also have to respect them. You can't lecture. You can't force. You have to respect yourself, respect all your feelings, and you have to respect other people as well. And the only thing you can do to change mentalities is to inspire people. You lead. I told you that several times already, but it's very important to realize that. And I have to remind myself constantly, but that's how things work. We lead by example. We can only inspire people when we are perfectly aligned with our goals, with our beliefs. We have a meaningful life, and we become more able to accept rejection and to accept that not everyone is the same, and more willing to see that maybe people are not so bad as we thought. Because they're not like us doesn't mean that they are bad, that they are wrong. The truth has many faces and many voices, and sometimes you have to accept that people are just what they are, and if you want them to respect you, you have to respect them as well, and to let them do things their own way at their own pace. And you have to be willing to love people even though they are different. And you have to be willing to love yourself through the crisis, through the pain, and to give yourself even more love, even more attention, even more respect when you feel bad, when you feel rejected by other people. And ultimately, the love you give yourself is the only thing you really, really need. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't want to be loved by other people, but it means that it's even more important and even better for your own growth, for your own evolution, to always love yourself, support yourself, believe in yourself, and trust that things are unfolding in the best possible way for you, for other people. That is very, very difficult, because we have very clear ideas about what we want to manifest, to experience, but life rarely happens in the way we expect it, and we have to be open, and we have to trust. Faith is the most beautiful thing and the most important. You have to have faith in yourself, in life, in other people, and everything will be okay. So that's all for today. Take care and stay tuned.